Welcome to the Amber Shows. After you watch my video, could you please give me a thumbs up, share my video, and also give me a comment. If there's something you want me to talk about, I'll be glad to do it. Or if you enjoyed the show, I'd be glad to hear it. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so it's Friday, so entertainment news is going to come first. All right, so Nipsey Hussle, his service will be huge. It's a hunt for a venue right now for him. It's up. They're expecting up to 15,000 mourners. It's such a sad situation. Nipsey Hussle's murderer, Eric Holder. I don't really want to touch this, and I'm not going to touch it a lot. But I saw Chris when Eric Holder was being arraigned. I saw Chris Darden was there in the courtroom. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to be prosecuting Eric Holder or if he's Eric Holder's attorney. Now, if he's Eric Holder's attorney, you've heard lots of conspiracy theories regarding this situation. It just makes you wonder, what's going on? But, like I said, I'm not touching it. You can research it, find out what Chris Darden was doing there. You know, the reason that Nipsey was even at his store was because a friend of his had just gotten out of prison. You know, Nipsey owns the store that he was killed in front of, called the Marathon Store. It's a clothing store. And his friend had just gotten out of jail, and Nipsey told him to meet him there because he was going to give him clothes so that, you know, he'll look decent. He just got home from prison. He wants to see his family and friends, whatever, you know, so he'd have nice clothes. He got shot as well. Eric Holder shot him, too. He got shot in the back. He's going to survive. The third person that was shot only had a graze wound, obviously because he refused any type of medical attention, and he's fine. So, and Nipsey, of course, lost his life. So, really sad situation about that. Britney Spears, she's checked herself into a mental hospital. Her father's having health issues. He was diagnosed with some type of colon problem. I don't know if it's cancer or if it's terminal or whatever it is, but he's very ill, and she's very close to her father. He's the one, when she had her nervous breakdown before in the past, when she broke up with her husband Kevin, and she has the two boys with. Remember, she shaved her head and everything, and she had this mental breakdown. Her father took control over all of her finances or whatever. So now she's back into a mental health facility, and I wish her the best. You know, mental health is running rampant. Most of the homeless people you see have mental problems. Who else, unless you're forced on the street? But the people who stay on the streets, a lot of them have mental health issues, and we don't really address them in the black community. But it's a very serious situation. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are about to do the new Bad Boys. It's going to be called Bad Boys for Life. It's coming out. Who's up for that? I am. I think that's going to be good. Now, let me tell you how stupid number 45 is. I don't call him president. All right, so now all of a sudden there's these two women who came out and said that Joe Biden hugged them or kissed them on the back of their head, when he was calling himself supporting them for whatever their issue was, and not hitting on them. And they don't say that he was hitting on them. They just said now, like 10 years later or 5 years later, they feel, that they feel funny about it. You know, it's so ridiculous, but this has to be somebody in Trump's camp or something is happening for this to come out. Anyway, Joe Biden didn't even say he's running for president yet, but he's been kind of hinting that he might run, and now these two women came out. So silly Trump actually tweeted a meme of Joe Biden sitting in a chair with himself, Joe Biden, behind him, rubbing his shoulders and smelling the back of his head. This is what Trump did today. And Joe Biden, with the class that he has, he was the vice president for President Obama. With the class that he has, he tweeted to Trump saying, "I see you're handling all of your presidential duties today. Good job." Oh my God, he's so silly. Nene Leakes' husband, if you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, Greg Leakes has been very ill this past season on the show, and suffering from cancer, stage 3, and he was saying that he did not want to do chemotherapy, but that was 6 months ago because the show, they're far behind from what we actually see on the TV. And so now he has done 6 months of chemotherapy, and they're reporting that he's doing much better, and I wish him the best. Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, you know those two. Lori Loughlin, she was in all the Lifetime movies, and she also played on In the House, whatever that program was. She played Auntie Becky. And Felicity Huffman, she was really good on Desperate Housewives. She's married to one of my favorite actors that's on Shameless. I can't recall his name right now. But anyway, these two paid lots and lots of thousands and thousands and $1 million for their daughters to get into really good colleges, which is, ridiculous and sad because they don't have any faith in their daughters getting into schools without paying for it. So that's illegal. So they're both facing jail time, and I see now that they decided to take a plea deal, but it's going to involve them doing some prison time. So people are getting called out on things that they're doing nowadays that people have been getting away with forever. Mick Jagger, he did have his heart surgery. I was telling you about that he was going in the hospital. His tour was canceled for now. He did have the heart surgery, and it was successful. Okay, now we're going to talk about some lifestyles. Now, here's a way how to perk up your breasts. You can't soak your breasts in cold water, and you can't wear a bra thinking that it's going to keep them perky. Nothing is going to stop your breasts from falling once you turn 40 or have children or breastfed. So, a well-fitted bra will help. But that's about it. They'll support them. That's about it. Now, I've never worn a bra. Never had anything to wear a bra. So I never had to feel that way. So I don't know if they're falling or not because I've never worn a bra. So I'm not really noticing it or whatever. But if you feel that your perkiness is going or has gone, you may decide you want to do surgery. And if you do surgery, ladies, please make sure you don't get some quack that's in the basement or in the back, or dentist, or they put silicone in you, that will kill you. It moves. It can kill you. And make sure you have a reputable doctor, and make sure you've done your research on that. But there's nothing that else is going to help your perkiness, because it's going to go away. You're going to have to embrace it after 40s, ladies. Breasts sag over time, but most tissue does. So for breasts, it's called ptosis, Ptosis. There are no chest exercises you can do. You remember you used to do this? I know people that used to do that. That's not going to help you. Breasts do not have muscles. It's just fatty tissue. Women with large breasts, and like I said, women who have breastfed will have probably the biggest problem. Just be sure to go to a reputable doctor if you decide that you want to get breast implants. Do not go to another country either, okay? All right, now studies for children. I talk about this all the time. We've got to get our kids smarter. We've got to get our kids smarter. You can start reading science books, musical books, real estate books. You can read anything you want, how to cook, anything from at 1 year old. You don't have to have these little baby children books with little pictures and stuff. A recent study says children whose parents don't read to the entering kindergarten child let me say it again. Children whose parents don't read to their children, when they enter kindergarten, they have less than 1 million word vocabulary gap. Okay? So reading boosts creativity, it increases empathy for others, it improves mental flexibility, it stimulates the brain, it unlocks the creativity. There's no better way to gain a larger vocabulary than by reading to your child real books. Just get even magazines. You can even read to them about finances if you want. Listen, Serena Williams right now is taking her little 1-year-old on the court every day. She got a racket in her hand. This is what I told you yesterday. Start early. But now, children whose parents read them 1 book a day, they will have over 1.4 million words in their vocabulary before entering kindergarten. This is what people are doing, and you got to do it. Kids who have parents read them one book a day hear 296,600 words before entering kindergarten. Children who are never read to hear only 4,662 words before the age of 5. Kids who hear more vocabulary words are going to be better, be more prepared to see words in print when they start school. Read to your children. Read them all kind of books. Now, yoga benefits. The longevity research is showing is so much longer when you're stretching those muscles because it's a mind and spiritual exercise. So I'm about to start doing yoga too because I want to be more flexible as well. So it'll make you very, very flexible. You'll begin to do things that you didn't even think that you could do anymore. Okay? So research, maybe find a yoga class. Now, if you want to give back to your community, and this is important because, when you give, you feel better, you get back better. Just think, you do one good deed, you get 2 good deeds back. That's just how life is. So you want to give back, go to the 99-cent store, buy some essentials, buy some toothpaste, buy some toothbrushes, buy some combs, brushes, socks, buy some fruit, and put them in some plastic bags and just pass them out on a Saturday or Sunday or a day that you're off work to some homeless people. And what else can make you feel better than that? Okay, so now I want to talk about Detroit news. Now, with Detroit news, we have Lenny Kravitz, first off. He's going to help design the Temple Detroit hotel. So that's under development right now. Also, the family of Ayanna Stanley. Ayanna Stanley Jones is her full name. She was 7 years old. There was a raid the police raided her parents' home, and they started shooting, and they raided the home because they thought someone was in there that they were looking for, and they actually shot this 7-year-old baby, Ayanna Stanley Jones, and she was killed. So the raid went wrong, and now the city has settled after 9 years today, giving the family $8.25 million, which will never bring their beloved baby back. And also, the cop who shot her was never brought up on any charges after the investigation of what happened, and he's actually still on the Detroit police force. And that happens a lot. When a lot of people get murdered, like our people get murdered, unjustifiable murders, and those cops get off, they stay on the police force, or they go to other little towns, become sheriffs, something like that, and you don't even know that they've been, even when they're found maybe guilty and they get out, they go back and find other jobs in law enforcement. It's a shame. New York City news, very expensive. I live in New York. New York is getting more and more expensive due to regentrification, especially. There was a time, if you're familiar with New York, when you get off when you're in the train and you get to 116th Street, all the Caucasians ran off because they didn't want to come anywhere above 125th. Now they all live in my area. They all live in my neighbors. Everything has changed. Regentrification is real in ghettos across this country where they are moving brown and black people further and further out of their communities by making the rent is excelling, but it's not as much it's actually cheaper for white folks for where they were living in the suburbs, but it's more expensive for the black and brown people. So they're moving them out and they're changing the neighborhoods. My neighborhood in Harlem looks way better. I have to give it credit where credit is due, but it wasn't for us. It was for white people. And if you're still in that area, then you get to benefit from the outdoor cafes and the Starbucks and the jazz clubs that have resurfaced. So On Upper West Side, there's a studio. If you have $380,000, it's only 400 square feet. It's on 102nd Street near Riverside Drive. That's available. There's a two-room co-op studio in Prospect Heights. That's on Vanderbilt Avenue. It's a few blocks from Prospect Park and near the Brooklyn Museum, going for $399,000. In Washington Heights, that's where I live, my hood. There's a two-bedroom going for $399,000 on 158th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. And there was a time wasn't nothing on 158th and Amsterdam Avenue except cocaine. Now, let's talk about health. Trouble sleeping. Most scientists are recommending sleeping in a dark, cool room, because if you get too hot, you're more likely to wake up in the middle of the night. I'm going to wake up anyway because I got to pee. But for those of you who don't wake up to got to pee and you sleep straight through, then have your room cooler, not extremely hot. Also, if your mattress is more than 10 years old, you should consider to get rid of your mattress too. Okay? All right. Now, what does it really mean if your muscles are sore after a workout? Okay, so the best thing about working out to me is when it's done because you're riding high on endorphins and you're feeling satisfied that you accomplished something. But then it sucks when you can hardly walk and your muscles hurt real bad and you can't move. Now, when your arms are sore and your legs are sore, it can mean that you worked muscles that you had not been worked out in a while, and the muscle just didn't have enough endurance. Okay, so the muscle didn't have enough endurance to handle what you were doing. So a lot of times you don't prep as well. You have to prep your body for the workout properly. In other words, you got to do stretches, and make sure that you move the arms and the legs that you're going to be how your workout that pertains to your workout. Also, a lot of times if you didn't hydrate properly, you got to drink a lot of water before you start working out too. And also your lifestyle, your diet and your lifestyle. All of that centers around your muscles. Now, people associate muscle soreness with a good workout, but depending on how you work out, you didn't give yourself enough rest too. So use that as overworking out. You got to rest in between. My phone fell. You got to rest in between your workouts as well, because when you overdo it, then now you'll plateau, and it'll set you back. So that means you won't get to make your goals because you might give up because of that. So manage your workout. Talk to your trainer if you have one, and get that part straightened out. Now, if you're traveling, I have some ways for you that'll help things go better. If you happen to be taking a cruise, I can't go on cruises. I have vertigo. That water had me crazy. I'll be sick as a dog. And no, Benadryl's not going to help me. But anyway, it's hot. Ways to make your Disney Cruise Line vacation better. I have some ways for you. 1, board later in the day. Consider selecting a later arrival time like 2 p.m. And in conjunction with online check-in. So you'll breeze right through security and embark in a matter of minutes, not hours. Also take the stairs when you're on the cruise whenever possible. That way you can skip the gym. You can free up space in your luggage. You don't have to put sneakers in there. And while the ship is in motion, switch stairs when you take the staircase, and then that way it'll prevent you from getting dizzy. Also, the Meridian is the best bar on Disney Cruise on the 12th floor, so you can walk to that. They also have 2 great bars on there that's recommended, the Palo and the Remy restaurants that have great views, and they also have amazing drinks. Know where to arrive, early or late. Arrive 15 minutes prior to a character meet, like if you're going to meet Disney, what's his name, Mickey Mouse or one of them. Doors open 30 minutes before the Broadway-style shows on the ship, so you can get a prime seat. When it comes to dinner, your rotational time is between 5:45 and 6:15 for first seatings, and 8 and 8:30 for second seatings, depending on the itinerary. Is when the restaurants actually open, so you can stroll in a few minutes late and you'll reach your table and avoid the big crowds. Ask in advance to dine outside, so that way you can enjoy a spectacular sunset view when you're eating. Okay, so let me see. I think we've covered everything for this Sunday, and you have this Friday, and you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.